Welcome. Today we will be doing a 1 hour slow flow yoga asana class. And I'm going to start seated. You might choose to start seated. Of course, you can choose to lay down or in any other position that is more comfortable for you today. And that goes throughout the whole class. At any point, if you want to come back to lying down or child's pose, you're of course free to do so. So I'm going to start us off with an alternate nostril breathing exercise called Nadi Shodhana. So during this exercise, we will be taking full yogic breaths. So you'll breathe first into your belly, letting it fully expand, and then allowing the breath to move up into your chest, holding at the top for just a brief pause, and then you will exhale, letting the chest go, and then the belly will pull back towards the spine at the bottom of the exhale. Now, Nadi Shodhana, we inhale and exhale through alternate nostrils, and we will begin and end on the left. So to get started, you can bring your right hand up, and we will place our index and middle fingers in between our brows. And so first you can just take a regular breath to prepare. And then we'll close down the right nostril with the left thumb and inhale fully through the left. So you'll breathe in through the nostril, letting your belly expand, then your chest. Hold briefly at the top, and then close down that left nostril with the right ring finger and exhale through the right, fully releasing the breath, pulling the belly back lightly at the bottom. And now we will inhale through the right. Belly expands, chest expands, pause at the top. And then you'll close down that right nostril and exhale through the left. Fully releasing. Belly pulls back at the bottom, and that is one round. Go ahead and continue this practice on your own for 3 to 5 rounds of breath. And when you hear the sound of my voice again, I will call you back. Continue the breath that you are on, and as you complete the last round, exhaling through the left nostril, you can come back to your seated position. Both hands will rest on your knees, palms can face down for a little more grounded experience, palms can face up to receive, or you can also let them rest in your lap. Just notice where your breath is in this moment. After our breathing exercise, is it any slower or more peaceful? Or are there still worries affecting your breath at this moment? Just notice. No need to change anything. And as we move into our asana practice today, first I would invite you to set an intention for your practice, just something that you want to remind yourself of and bring with you as we move our bodies today. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and blink the eyes open. We'll begin our movement practice. And as we go through our practice today, you may want to have some blocks handy, maybe a blanket, a bolster if you have one, just anything to help support you through these movements. We'll be keeping things pretty gentle, but the props are always nice to have handy if possible. Now from our seated position here, we'll just begin mobilizing through the neck. So we can, on an exhale, tuck the chin to the chest, gently feeling a lengthening through the back of the neck here. You might inhale and move your chin up towards your left collarbone, stretching through the right side of the neck. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, move your chin to the right collarbone. Pause for a moment. Inhale, back to center. Now move with your own breath, moving from left to right, or finding stillness in the center if that's what you need. Your next inhale, come back to center and we'll lift the crown of the head back up towards the sky. Inhale, reach arms up overhead. And with your exhale, we'll let that right arm fall down to the mat next to our hip. Left arm will reach up and over towards the right. Ground those left sit bones into the mat. Reach the left fingertips, stretching into the side of the body. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale, see if you can stretch just a hair further towards that wall with your left fingertips. Inhale, both arms up towards the sky. Growing long through the spine, exhale, left hand comes down to the mat. Right fingertips reach over towards the side. As you inhale, try to roll your heart open. Root those sit bones down into the mat and reach with those right fingertips. Inhale, both arms back up. As we exhale, left hand will come to right knee, and right hand will land on the mat behind us, coming into a gentle spinal twist. Your gaze can be straight out in front over that right knee, or you can complete the twist, turning your gaze over that right shoulder. Inhale, spine nice and long, crown of the head reaches up. Exhale, try to deepen the twist just a little further. With your next inhale, we'll bring both arms back up through center, reaching towards the sky. Exhale, right hand comes to left knee, left hand lands behind us. And we'll move into a twist on the other side. Inhale, spine nice and long, breathe into your belly. Exhale to deepen the twist, gazing over that left shoulder. Your next inhale, we'll bring the arms back up overhead. And exhale, bring hands to heart center. Just taking a breath here, to integrate those warming up movements, noticing how our body is feeling. And then when you're ready, we'll bring our hands down to the mat in front of us, come onto our knees, and we'll transition into a tabletop position, moving any props you might have been sitting on off to the side. We'll stack our hands directly under our shoulders and our knees directly under our hips, untuck those toes, and then as you inhale, you can let the belly fall towards the mat, arching through the spine, heart reaches forward. And then as you exhale, you can tuck your chin, one vertebrae at a time, roll, rounding through your spine, tucking the hips very last. Inhale to arch, moving with your own breath. Exhale to round. You can take any other small movements that feel good here. You might roll your ribs from side to side, taking a barrel roll as you breathe. If you are rolling, switch directions, making sure you feel even on both sides here. And with your next inhale, we'll meet back in a neutral tabletop position. We're going to stretch through the wrists for a moment, so you can bring the fingertips to point towards the knees with the backs of the hands on the mat. This might be plenty of a stretch, and if it's too much, you can always do one hand at a time here. We're just going to sit our sit bones back towards the heels in a small rocking movement to deepen the stretch if you would like. If you have one hand down, go ahead and switch to the other. And then we're going to switch the directions of the hands. So our fingertips are facing our knees with our palms on the mat. Spread your fingertips nice and wide, stretching through the palm, the front of the wrists and forearms. And with your next exhale, we'll begin to sit our sit bones back, peeling the palms up off the mat, letting our fingers release one at a time, stretching in between each finger here. Finally, we'll bring our thumbs to the mat and press into those as well. Beautiful. Come back into your tabletop position. And we'll bring our knees out wide, toes touch together, big toes touch, and we'll sit our hips back into child's pose. Taking a deep inhale and exhale. Let your forehead melt to the mat here. Opening into the hips. Beautiful. When you're ready, we'll come back up to hands and knees, our tabletop position. All right. From here, we'll find a strong position with our hands under our shoulders. Press into all four corners of the hands, pressing the mat away, broadening through the shoulder blades. We're going to move our feet back towards the back of the mat, tucking the toes, coming up into a plank position. Find nice and strong plank here, tucking your pelvis, pressing the mat away, engaging through your quads, lifting those kneecaps. And with your next exhale, we'll lift the hips up towards the sky and come into a downward facing dog. You can press your heels towards the mat here, They don't need to touch. You just want to get a nice stretch through the calves and hamstrings and the back of the body. Broaden through the shoulders, facing the armpits towards each other here. Let your head hang heavy towards the mat. Now we're going to find some movement with breath. So we're going to inhale, roll forward, coming into plank position. Take one full breath. And as you exhale, press your hips back up towards the sky into downward facing dog. Take another full breath in. And exhale through an open mouth. Your next inhale, come forward into plank. And moving with your own breath, exhale into downward facing dog. Inhale into plank. Go through a couple of rounds here. You might pedal out your feet in your down dog. The next time you exhale into downward facing dog, we'll meet each other there. We're going to inhale the right leg up behind us, reaching towards the sky. And as you exhale, bring your knee to your nose, floating that right foot to the front of the mat in between the hands. Lower that back knee to the mat, untuck the toes, and find a nice runner's lunge. This is where you might bring blocks in to help support your upper body. We're going to stretch into this left hip flexor. You're going to stay strong in the right glute, stacking this right knee directly over right ankle. Crown of the head reaches up towards the ceiling, breathing deep into the belly. With your next exhale, you can bring those blocks with you. We're going to shift the hips back over this back knee. We're going to stay strong in this left glute now, and we're going to stretch into this front hamstring, flexing the foot, folding over that front leg. Now once again, we're going to find movement in this position, so you can inhale forward into your lunge, crown of the head reaches up. Exhale, hips move back, front foot flexes, and fold over this front leg. Inhale to your lunge, moving with your own breath. Beautiful. With your next inhale, I'll meet you in the lunge, and we're going to bring our hands back to the mat, framing that front foot. We're going to tuck those back toes and lift the back knee. And then with an inhale, we'll sweep this right leg back up into the sky with a three-legged dog. Exhale, right foot comes down to meet the left. Take one deep breath in your downward facing dog here, pressing the mat away with your fingertips. Inhale, left leg sweeps up towards the sky. Exhale, knee to nose, float that foot to the front of the mat between your hands. Back knee comes down, back toes untuck. Bring in blocks if you want them for your lunge on the left side. Now we're going to find strength in this right glute to protect our lower back. Crown of the head reaches nice and tall, stretching through the front of the right hip. And with your next exhale, we'll move the hips back over the right back leg, flexing the left foot, coming into a half split. Inhale, crown of the head reaches nice and long towards the front of the mat. Exhale, fold a little deeper if that's available. Make sure you're not dumping into this right hip. Keep it nice and active. Now we'll once again move with breath. Inhale, come into the lunge. Core strong. Exhale, move back into the half split. Fold over that front leg. Inhale, come into the lunge. Exhale, hips move back and we fold. Move with your own breath. See if you can find a little deeper stretch with each inhale and exhale. And with your next inhale, we'll move our blocks to the side, bring our hands to the mat, framing that front foot. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, and sweep that left foot all the way up and back into a three-legged dog. Exhale, bring that foot down to meet the right. Let your head hang heavy for a moment. And then, when you're ready, we'll begin to walk the hands back towards the feet. Then we'll meet each other at the back of our mat in forward fold. So feet are about hips distance apart here. We'll inhale, find a halfway lift. Spine grows nice and long. Exhale, fold. You can grab the backs of your legs. Keep a generous bend in your knee. Letting the head be nice and heavy here. Inhale, find another halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And then with your next inhale, one vertebrae at a time, we're going to slowly roll all the way up into a standing position. Finding our Tadasana, mountain pose. We'll inhale the shoulders up to the ears and then roll them back, bringing the scapula together. With an exhale, inhale, roll them forward and up. Exhale, down and back. And we'll go ahead and switch directions. So inhale back and up. Exhale forward and down. A few more breaths. And then with an exhale, let your hands hang heavy towards the ground. Shine your palms towards the front of the mat. Feel into all four corners of both feet here, getting nice and strong and stable. Lift the kneecaps to engage the thighs. Keep your pelvis tucked at a nice neutral angle here. That'll engage your glutes and your core. Reaching the crown of the head nice and long. This is the feeling that we want to come back to throughout all of these positions. Strong and long. So with our next inhale, we're going to take a big step with the left foot forward to the front of the mat, and we're going to come into a warrior one. So our feet will stay on train tracks parallel to each other. Back heel can stay lifted. Front knee should be directly over the ankle here. Pelvis stays tucked. You feel strength in your glute and your core will engage. You can inhale, hands up overhead, or you can keep them at heart center for a little more stability. Inhale, reach the crown of the head nice and long towards the ceiling. And exhale, we'll move the right hand down and back towards that back heel. Left hand comes forward, palms facing the same direction. Gaze over that right shoulder, or you can keep your gaze neutral to the wall in front of you, coming into a twist. Press to the outside of this front knee, keeping an external rotation in that front leg. Inhale, arms back up overhead, reach. Exhale, bring your arms down and back behind your body, interlacing the fingers at the base of the spine. And then pressing the hands towards the mat, opening through the heart and the front of the shoulders. Inhale, your gaze can lift towards the ceiling or stay just in front of you. Exhale, release the hands and hop this back foot up about halfway up the mat. Our feet will stay parallel to each other. Both legs will straighten. You can bring your hands to your hips. We'll inhale, reach the crown of the head nice and long. As we exhale, we'll hinge at the hips, keeping length in the spine, folding down into pyramid. Whenever you start to feel a deep stretch in this front hamstring, you can pause. You can bring blocks in to support you in this position as well. And with your next exhale, beginning at the sacrum, you can roll one vertebrae at a time into a deeper fold, releasing the crown of the head last to hang heavy towards the mat. With your next inhale, bring a generous bend into that front knee and begin to lift your torso back up using the strength in your core. We'll once again straighten both legs, and we're going to move into a warrior 3. So you can move your blocks just to the top of your mat, the torso's length away from this front foot. We'll bring our hands to heart center and begin to shift your weight forward to the front foot. Now we're going to keep our spine nice and long, as I said before. Now you can begin to get light in those back right toes. Engage through the left glute to keep this hip nice and strong. Your right hip will remain pointing down towards the mat, not opening to the side here. And keeping that spine nice and long, as you exhale, you can hinge forward as far as you can go, keeping your spine long and your hip pointed down towards the mat. Breathe. You can bring your hands down to your blocks, or you can reach them up overhead in front of you. And with your next exhale, go ahead and release that right foot down next to the left, and we'll take a forward fold. Great job. Inhale to halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Really let your head hang heavy here. Release tension through the legs that just worked so hard for us. With your next inhale, we'll begin to roll back up into a standing position. Roll the shoulders down away from the ears, coming up into mountain. Take a breath and And then when you're ready, we'll begin to shift the weight into the right foot, and the left foot will step to the back of the mat, coming into warrior one on the opposite side. Again, back heel stays lifted, front knee stacks over front ankle. Press into the outside of that front knee, engaging through the right glute and the core. Inhale, arms up overhead, crown reaches towards the ceiling. Tuck that tailbone towards the mat. As you exhale, maybe sink a little deeper into this pose. And with your next exhale, we'll come into the twist. Left hand will sweep back behind you. Right hand comes in front. Gaze can stay at the wall here, or it can turn back over those left fingertips. Breathe into the twist, letting your chest expand. Next inhale, go ahead and bring arms back up overhead. Reach the spine nice and long. Exhale, arms will come back behind to the base of the spine. Interlace the fingers. Press the hands towards the mat, opening through the heart. Gaze can stay straight ahead, or you can lift your chin up towards the ceiling. Breathe. And with your next exhale, you can release the hands. And we'll hop this back foot to the middle of the mat. Toes will both point towards the front of the mat here. Hands can come to hips or heart center. We'll inhale, spine nice and long. Exhale, keeping that length, hinge at the hips, coming forward into pyramid. Go as far as you can, keeping your spine nice and long. Feel into the deep stretch of the hamstring on this right leg. You can bring your blocks to help support you here as well. And with your next exhale, beginning at the base of the spine, you can roll one vertebrae at a time, fully folding over this front leg until the crown of the head finally reaches towards the mat. Pressing the feet away from each other will give you a nice stable base for the fold here. And with your next inhale, come back up into a straight spine. Move your blocks torso's length in front of that foot for warrior three. And using the strength of your core, come back upright. Take a breath, and then we'll begin to shift our weight into this front right foot, feeling into all four corners of that foot, activating this right glute nice and strong. Inhale, crown of the head reaches straight up, coming light into those back toes. Hands can come to heart center, and you can begin to hinge forward, lifting that back leg. Keep that left hip pointed down towards the mat. Left toes are flexed. Feel the strength of your standing leg in this position. Core is engaged. Your arms can come to blocks or reach up overhead for a further challenge. And exhale, left foot comes to meet the right. Fold over those legs. You can heel toe your feet towards the outside edges of the mat here. Coming into a wide forward fold. Take a few deep breaths. Hands could reach to opposite elbows, coming into a ragdoll. Let your upper body just be heavy, reaching crown of the head toward the mat here. You might sway from side to side, feeling how that gentle movement moves the stretch around in the back of the body. Beautiful. And we'll inhale, find a halfway lift. And with your next exhale, we're going to plant the hands to the mat. Both feet step back into a high plank. We'll hold this plank for a couple of breaths. Remember to tuck that pelvis, engaging through the core, pressing the mat away with both hands, broadening through the shoulders, nice and strong in the legs. When you're ready, you can release the knees to the mat. And we're going to come down all the way to our bellies for some back strengthening exercises here. We're going to move into half locust first and then full locust. So you can bring your hands under your shoulders, or you can reach them back towards your toes on the mat here. The back of your neck will stay nice and long, just gazing down towards the mat. We'll begin to squeeze the legs together here. Reach the toes towards the back of the mat. And with your next inhale, begin to lift those legs just a few inches off the mat. You'll engage the core, press the pubic bone into the mat. As you exhale, see if you can reach those legs a little higher. One more breath here. And exhale, release. You can bring left cheek to the mat. Let your shoulders roll forward and let everything be heavy. Next, we're going to come into a full locust position. So legs will lift and chest and shoulders will lift. Arms can stay back by your sides, fingertips reaching towards the toes. They can come under your shoulders, or they can reach overhead for an extra challenge. So with your next inhale, we'll prepare. Exhale, point the toes. Lift the chest and shoulders, palms face each other. Squeeze those legs together. Exhale, see if you can lift everything just a bit higher. Keeping that core strong, pubic bone presses into the mat. One more breath here. Exhale, release, bring the right cheek to the mat, let everything relax. Great work. When you're ready, you can begin to bring your hands under your shoulders, tuck those back toes, press up. We're going to meet in a downward facing dog. So bring your hands nice and wide on the mat, index fingers pointing towards the front of the mat. Lift those hips up towards the ceiling. Maybe you walk your dog Bending one knee and then the other. Lifting those sit bones up towards the sky. Pressing into the hands, reaching the heels towards the mat. Letting the head hang heavy. You can shake your head yes and no to let it release a little farther. Let it hang as though you might just let it fall to the mat. And then when you're ready, with an inhale, you can bring your left foot to the center of the mat. We're going to lift the right up into the sky. If it feels good, you can bend the knee, stack right hip over left. Breathe into the hip opening. And with your next exhale, your right knee will come to meet your right wrist, and we'll meet each other in a pigeon position. Staying upright for a breath or two. You can bring a blanket or a block under this right hip for a little extra support. Breathe into the front of the body for a moment here. And then as we exhale, you can fold over this front leg. You stack the palms and rest your forehead on them. You might rest your head on a block. Find your comfortable position here. With each inhale, you can gently lengthen the spine. And as you exhale, see if you can release just a little farther. Breathing into the right hip in this position. You can also choose to reach your arms out in front of the mat if you want to deepen the stretch a little farther. With your next inhale, begin to walk your hands back towards your knee. Engage the core to lift the torso back upright. We'll press the hands into the mat, slide this right knee back to meet the left, tuck those back toes, and we'll lift the right leg back up into three-legged dog. Once again, you can bend the knees, stack the hips if that feels good. And then exhale, bring the right foot down to the mat. Take a breath here in your downward facing dog, noticing any difference between right and left side. With your next inhale, bring the right foot to the center of the mat and lift the left up into the sky. You can bend the knee, stack the hip, left over right, opening through that left hip here. Before exhaling and bringing left knee to right wrist, to left wrist, into pigeon on the left side. Sliding that right leg back. Again, option to bring blanket or bolster under the left hip for support. Inhale, expanding through the front of the body. And then as you exhale, we'll begin to walk the hands forward, folding over this front leg. Stacking the palms, resting the forehead down, or bringing a block under the head. Or stretching the arms up overhead to the front of the mat. Releasing into our pigeon on the left side. you inhale, you can lengthen the spine slightly. With your exhale, see if you can find a little more release. Noticing if your body has anything to tell you in the hips in this position. And when you're ready, take an inhale and begin to walk those hands back, lifting the torso to the core nice and strong. We'll press into those hands, tuck the back toes, slide the left knee back towards the right, and lift up all the way into three-legged dog. Stacking the hips if it feels good. And exhale, bring left foot down underneath the right. Taking just a few final breaths in downward facing dog. Let your head be heavy. And when you're ready, the knees can come down to the mat. And sit back towards your heels. Bring the legs out long in front of you, keeping a bend in the knee. We'll bring our hands to the back of the thighs and slowly roll one vertebrae at a time, keeping strength in the core, all the way back down onto our backs. You will want to bring a block with you. This way. So once we meet on our backs here, we're going to come into a supported bridge. So bend the knees, soles of the feet to the mat, hip distance apart. Press into the feet and slide the block under your hips, right under your sacrum. I like to let just the tip of my tailbone tip over the edge of the block. Bring your arms down by your sides and really just let your hips be so heavy on the block. The compression feels so good on the sacrum. Letting the lower back release here. Your palms can face up towards the ceiling, or you can face them down to the ground as we bring our practice to a close. See if you can release and be a little heavier with each exhale here. Back of the neck should be nice and long. If this is too much of a back bend for you, you're welcome to use a blanket or a bolster instead for a gentler expression of this pose. Option to bring the legs up, facing the soles of the feet towards the ceiling for a supported legs up the wall. Nice, gentle inversion. Slowing our heart rates, bringing our nervous systems back to a calm state. If you have your legs up, take another breath or two. When you're ready, bend your knees and bring the soles of the feet back to the mat. We'll press into the feet, lifting the hips, and we'll slide that block out. Place it to the side. You can exhale the left leg nice and long on the mat. Inhale, arms out wide. Exhale, shift the hips to the right, and right knee will fall over the left leg to the left side of the mat. For a final reclining twist. To deepen the twist, you might place your left hand to the outside of the right thigh, and you can gaze over those right fingertips to bring it up into the cervical spine. Whatever feels supportive for you in this moment. Breathe, inhale into the belly. Exhale. You can deepen the twist. Inhale, right leg back up towards the sky, using the strength of the core here. Exhale, right leg nice and long. Taking a pause here to notice the difference between right and left sides. And we'll inhale, bend that left knee, bringing the foot to the mat. Shift the hips slightly to the left and let the left knee fall over the right leg into a twist. You might shift your shoulders ever so slightly to the right so that that left shoulder blade can stay on the mat. Right hand can come to the outside of the right thigh. Gaze can shift over those left fingertips. Inhale deep into the belly. Exhale, deepen the twist. Let the breath be long and slow. See if there are any muscles you can let go. My right glute was trying to help me twist, so I'm just choosing to relax that. And with your next inhale, engage the core to bring that left knee back to center. Left foot can go nice and long on the mat. And we'll find ourselves in our final resting position, Shavasana. You can bring a bolster under your knees. You can place a blanket over your body. Get nice and comfy for this final relaxation pose. Let your feet drift toward the outside edges of the mat. Palms might face up or down. You can bring palms to belly and heart. Whatever feels more supportive here for you. Begin to notice the shape of your breath now. What has changed since we began our practice? What remains the same? There's nothing we need to change. Noticing is enough. You can release the space between your eyebrows. Relax your eyes into the back of their sockets. Let your jaw hang nice and heavy. Release your ears down towards the mat. Continue scanning down your body, releasing through your shoulders, down to your hands. Letting your hips go, releasing your quads, all the way down to the tips of your toes. And let your breath find a natural rhythm where you don't have to do a thing. And finally, you might invite the intention that you set at the beginning of class back into your awareness as we take our final few minutes in Shavasana. Begin to bring you back to this room. You can let your breath begin to deepen into your belly. You might wiggle through your fingers and toes. You can roll the wrists and ankles, slowly bringing some movement back into your body. Inhale, you might reach the arms up overhead, point the toes, taking a full body stretch. And exhale, bring your arms back down by your sides. You can bend your knees and hug them into the chest. Rock side to side, massaging lower spine and sacrum. And then your choice to roll to one side. Take a breath there. You can also bring your hands to the back of your thighs. Roll up to a seated position. Whichever way you choose. I'll meet you in an easy seat with our eyes closed down, or with a soft gaze on the ground in front of us. Inhale, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Taking one last moment here to feel some gratitude for yourself, for taking this time on your mat today. I thank you for taking this time with me. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me for this 1 hour class. This is one of my final assignments for yoga teacher training. So, if all goes to plan, I will be graduating from this program this Sunday. So, watch this space for a lot more yoga to come. I'm so excited to share with y'all what I've been learning in yoga teacher training. It's changed my life exponentially for the better, and I'm hoping to share these practices with y'all and hopefully improve your life in some small way as well. Again, thanks for being here. I'll see you next time.